Hey guys, today I want to go over Astro, and if you're not familiar with it, it's a web framework for building content-driven and content-heavy websites. I've never actually used it, but I've heard a lot about it. You know, I come from more of a PHP back-end side of things, using Laravel and really diving in with that. But I've been exploring a lot of the JavaScript ecosystem. I've kind of missed the whole thing with SPA applications and things like that. So, you know, I've come across Astro, or I've been hearing a lot more about Astro as of late. And a new issue had arisen on a WordPress website that I was working on where the site was super slow. It's got tons of content that is updated. It's a podcast. It's got lots of blogs. And I had come across the topic, or I guess the idea of using Astro for the front end and you continuing to use WordPress as a headless CMS. So I thought, why not use Astro? Why not explore it? And one of the best ways to get familiar with a web framework is to go through their documentation, go through the tutorial that they always have on throughout their documentation. And I thought, you know, why don't I just create a video of myself going through it? So I haven't done this before. We're just going to do it kind of live as we go here. And we'll go through Astro and we'll get something up and running. And so before we dive into that, I'll just say, so Astro, again, comes with this server-first approach, right? And the idea is that it's going to render your pages fully on the server side and ship simply HTML to the browser. So it's going to result in faster load times because it actually, by default, it ships 0 JavaScript over to the browser. So let's just go through the homepage here before we dive into the documentation. So Astro, web framework for content-driven websites. It powers the world's fastest marketing sites, blogs, e-commerce websites, and more. Let's scroll down. So as I mentioned, a server-first approach. Performance by rendering components on the server, sending lightweight HTML to the browser with 0 unnecessary JavaScript. Content-driven, so you're able to load data from external file system, API, like I mentioned, WordPress, or I guess favorite CMS, which is also WordPress. So customizable, extend Astro with your favorite tools, bring your own JavaScript UI components. So this is a big one. Astro is not necessarily like not necessarily a front-end framework, but it is a web framework, but it allows you to bring in your single-file components from Vue, React, Svelte, and that's without having to actually rebuild them in Astro. Astro Islands. Let's go through the documentation on this because I think this is one of their the big things that they've pioneered. So we're going to go through that in the documentation, or maybe it's further down on the page. 0 lock-in, so you can make use of any of these your components from any of these frameworks. Fully featured, 0 JavaScript by default. Scroll down. It's got a number of themes that you can get up and running with, which is, I kind of had a quick browse through here. I was looking at the ones through the blog here, and I came across it because I came across a couple of live websites that were loading super fast. So I had a look. I popped open my Wapalizer here to see what they were built with, and they were built with Astro. So again, I was hearing a lot more about Astro, and now I see that site's built with Astro, so that's kind of how I dive back into it. So start building with Astro today. Open source sponsors, and that's it. So let's pop up to the top here. Let's go through documentation. So Astro docs, so install Astro. So on the left hand side here, I saw that they've got a tutorial. So let's just kind of get started. Let's go welcome. Let's go why Astro. So it's a web framework for building content-driven websites like blog, marketing, e-commerce, best known for pioneering a new front-end architecture to reduce JavaScript overhead and complexity compared to other web frameworks. If you need a website that loads fast and has great SEO, then Astro is for you. So an all-in-one web framework. Let's just kind of scroll down through here. So content-driven websites. Server-first approach, rendering it. So this is the big one here, and there's been a lot of back and forth where a lot of these JavaScript front-end frameworks Most of the heavy lifting is done on the front end. The server side loads up a bundle, ships that JavaScript bundle over to the client, and now all of that processing is done on the client end. Now you're seeing a lot more about server-side rendering, SSR. So a lot of things, it goes in waves, and now we're going back to server-side rendering. Let's see, fast by default, easy to use, developer focused. Okay, next, islands architecture. So Astro helped pioneer and popularize a new front-end architecture pattern called islands architecture. It works by rendering the majority of your page to fast, static HTML with smaller islands of JavaScript added with interactivity or personalization where it's needed on the page. So, for example, an image carousel. So the idea with this, let's see if there's here, this image really explains it. So you have a header here, and this header has an interactive component up here. But your sidebar, which, maybe it can contain some navigation, some links, anything else, and then you've got your static content, text, images, etc. None of that is using JavaScript, so it's going to be excluded from it. Image carousel, and this is another interactive island, they call it. So this would have a JavaScript component there. And then your footer would be static as well. So that's kind of the idea, is only shipping the necessary JavaScript for those particular components. Okay? Client islands is giving us some more info about it. Let's just kind of skip past this and get going. So next tutorial, let's build a blog. So I will say too, if we run into some issues, we'll try to work them out together, because again, I have not gone through this tutorial. I've kind of had a quick skim through some of the features with Astro and in the docs, but that's all I've done so far. So in this tutorial, you will learn Astro's key features by building a fully functioning blog from zero to full launch. You're gonna set up your development environment, create pages and blog posts for your website, build with Astro components, query and work with local files, add interactivity to your site, and then we're going to deploy our site. If you would rather start exploring with a pre-built site, you can visit here, but we're just going to go ahead with, we're just going to follow the tutorial. And you'll see up on the right here, there's a tutorial tracker as well. So checklist looks great. I'm ready to get started. We'll check that. We'll move on. Okay, what do we need to know to get started? Yes, you should know HTML, some basic Markdown, CSS, and some JavaScript, and then you're good to go. You will also need a GitHub or similar account for publishing your project to the web. How do I use checklists? We're just going to check them off. Things I already know how to do. What if I need help? We're just going to keep moving through here. Now that you know what you're going to build, it's time to set up all the tools you'll need. This unit shows you how to set up your development environment and deploy to Netlify. So Netlify is the popular static site hosting provider that Astro deploys to. Take the tutorial and an online code editor if we wanted to. Where are you going? In this unit, you will create a new project that is stored online in GitHub and connected to Netlify. As you write code, you will periodically commit your changes to GitHub. Netlify will use the files. There we go. Okay, so I will also say, if you follow this channel, like I'm kind of back. Well, I wouldn't say I'm back in. I've always been in web development, but I haven't done a lot of version control. So maybe this will also give me a chance to really dive in and start using version control and get familiar or get comfortable with GitHub and Git again. I've used it many years ago, and I just have not worked in that kind of team nature where we used version control, unfortunately. So let's see, we might have some new things to learn along the way. So prepare your dev environment. You will use a command line to create your Astro. Yes, we know that. Node.js. So we need to make sure that Node is running. So this is how we can check to ensure that we have it installed, and I already do. So I'm going to open up Terminal. So here we are. So I'm just going to type Node v. And so I already have Node running. I've got version 22.14. So ensure you have Node running. I think you just head over to Node.js right here. And you got to download Node. Make sure it's running on your computer. Okay, let's see. Yeah, if the command returns an error, no, we have it. Code editor, you'll need a code editor. Yes, I am using VS Code. So we've got VS Code. So test your knowledge. Code editor, which of the following? Code editor for making changes to your files. Yes, VS Code. An online version control for your repository, GitHub. An application for running commands, it would be terminal. Okay, I can access the command line. I've done all this. Launch the Astro setup wizard. So in the command line of your terminal, run the following using the preferred package manager. So we're going to use npm. Okay, so we'll go. Just copy that. So npm create Astro at latest and then template minimal. Need to install the following packages. Create Astro. So yes, we'll type Y, enter. Create Astro template minimal. Let's see here. When the prompt asks you where to create your project, type in the name of a folder to create a new directory of your project. Example, tutorial. So why don't we do that? Whoops. Install dependencies. What does it want us to do? When yes, we want to go Y. Initialize Git repository. Yes. So this is probably, or this is good for me to dive back into Git. Okay, liftoff confirmed. Explore your project. Enter project directory using cd tutorial. We're going to run npm run dev to start the dev server. Control C to stop. Add frameworks like React. Stuck. Houston. Good luck out there, astronaut. Okay, perfect. So when it's complete, you no longer need terminal. So what we'll do is we'll just get out of here. Open your project in VS Code. Let's see here. So let me just pull it up here. So I'll open up VS Code here, and we'll just open it from here. Tutorial. Okay, let's see what they want us doing now. Choose a folder. We've done this. If this is your first time opening, you should see a notification about recommended extensions. Click to see the recommended extension. So yes, let's do that so that we get good type completion and IntelliSense. So Astro build. Okay, so what we do, we can do it right from here. So I'd like to go to extensions. Let's see what it's just called, Astro. This one right here. So we're going to install that. Yes, we do. Okay, so that's installed. So let's close that out. Okay, make sure the terminal is visible and that you can see command prompt. You can now use the terminal built in right into this window instead of the computer's terminal app for the rest of the tutorial. So that would be right through VS Code. Okay, let's see. Run Astro in dev mode, so npm run dev. So let's do that. Okay, let's open that up. There we go. We're up and running on a local server. So let's see. View preview of your website. We've got this up. Here's what the Astro empty project starter website looks like in your browser. So using the Astro dev server, while it's running in dev mode, you will not be able to run commands in your terminal window. Instead, this pane will give you feedback as you preview your site. You can stop the dev server at any time and return to the command prompt by typing Control-C in the terminal. Sometimes the dev server will stop on its own while you're working. If your live preview stops working, go back to terminal and restart the dev server. So I've done this, and we've done this. So write your first line of Astro. So edit your home page. In your code editor, navigate to the Explorer file pane, source pages index, and click on it to open its file contents. So yeah, here is the folder structure here. So I'll pop it open. We don't need node modules expanded. And we have our extensions, and let's see what's in here. Some JSON files. Okay, but this is the one here, source pages and index.astro. And so this H1, this is exactly where this is coming from right here. Okay. So in your code editor, navigate to it and click on it. And then we'll see this. Edit the content of your page. Type in the editor, change the heading text on your page, and save the changes. So yeah, we can do that. We'll save that. We'll head back, and there we go. Changes reflected. Congratulations, you're now an Astro developer. That's awesome. Okay, checklist. Make changes, and I'm an Astro developer. Next is store your repository online. This tutorial will use GitHub to store a repository. You are welcome to use the online Git provider of your choice. So create a repository in GitHub. Although there are a few ways to get your local code stored in GitHub, this tutorial will guide you through a method that does not require using Git in the command line. Log into GitHub in the browser and click the plus icon. So this is great because I have not even been in GitHub in a very long time. Let's do that real quick. Okay, that's it. Click plus icon, new repository. And let's see what they want us to call it here. Choose a name for it. Let's go Astro tutorial. Sure, that's fine. We can leave it public. Initialize a repository with a README. We don't need that. Choose a license. None, that's fine. We'll just go create repository. Okay, that's ready. So let's go back. So commit your local code to GitHub. In the last section, you made changes to your page's content. This means that your project files have changed, and VS Code should show a number on the top of the source menu icon. The source tab is where you regularly go to update your files in GitHub. So click the source control tab in VS Code to see a list of files that have changed. If you see a message that you need to install Git, follow the instructions provided, then reload VS Code. Click the three dots menu above the commit message and choose remote, add remote. Okay, so that is here. So I see that number there, source control. And then above commit, you see three dots, remote, add remote. Add remote from GitHub, so I guess I'll click here. Wants to sign into GitHub, yes, I want to do that. Continue. We're going to authorize that. Okay, let's try adding that remote again here. So remote, add remote. So add remote from GitHub. Astro tutorial. So remote name. We're just going to call this origin. Let's start with that and go enter. Let's see what happens. Let's try to commit these changes. Make sure you configure your user.name and user.email in Git. Learn more. Okay, first time Git setup, your identity. The first thing you should do when you install Git is to set your username and email address. So let's do this. Okay, so let's try committing now. Enter commit message. Okay, let's go back. We'll close this out. Let's go back to commit message. We'll just type in initial commit. We'll save that. See your project on GitHub to verify that your project is successfully stored on GitHub. Look under your account for a list of your repositories. Choose the one you created and verify it contains your project files. So we'll just go back to my page home. So Astro tutorial. And here we are, project files. If I click on source and then I click on index, you'll see my first Astro website. So it's working. All right, I've stored my project on GitHub. There we go. That was a bit troublesome, but like I said, getting familiar with Git again. Deploy your site to the web. So add your GitHub repository as a new Netlify app. So deploy your Astro site to the web. Here you will connect your GitHub repository to Netlify. Netlify will use that project to build and deploy your site live. Okay, so create a new Netlify site. So I'll create a free account at Netlify. So I do not have an account currently. So we will go sign up. We'll sign up with GitHub. We will go personal. What kind of site do you want to build first? We'll just go personal site. What best describes your role? We'll just go junior web developer for now. What is the name of your team? Or name your team project name or your name. People who use Netlify for personal often use a project name for their own name. We'll just go, we'll call this Astro build. Continue to deploy. Deploy your first project. We're going to choose GitHub. And we'll go selected repositories for now. Astro. Install. Click on it. Deploy Astro tutorial to Netlify. So I know I kind of skipped ahead with the instructions here, but they make it pretty straightforward here with Netlify. So Netlify's robots are busy building and deploying your site to our CDN. Okay, deploy success. Great work setting up. And it's giving us a default, just a randomly generated name there for your first site. We'll get started. Get started with Netlify. So here we are. So let's see. Okay, so created the Netlify site. Netlify will show your app settings. The default should be correct for your Astro project. You can scroll down and click deploy site, which we've done. We're going to change our project's name. On your site's overview page in Netlify, you will see a randomly generated project name and your website's URL of the form like this. You can change your project name to something more memorable. This will automatically update your URL. Let's try to do that here. Let's see. Site configuration. Change site name. Astro tutorial build. We'll save that. Oh, I think I made a mistake there. Okay, let's try visiting this. There we go. So now we're up and running on Netlify. So visit your new website. So test your knowledge. You want to update the homepage of your existing website. What steps do you take? Update the homepage UI. Open terminal, run create Astro, and visit my Netlify. I make an edit and I commit my changes. I'm going to go with that one. Checklist. I can view my updated website online. Yes, and I'm ready to get back to coding. So, moving on to Unit 2, Pages. Now that you're working on the web, it's time to add pages and posts. Looking ahead, in this unit, you will create your first Astro pages with the .astro syntax, add blog posts with Markdown, style an individual page, and apply global styles. Along the way, you'll learn how the two sections of an Astro file work together to create a page and how to use variables and conditional rendering on your pages. So let's do it. Okay, now that you know that .astro files are responsible for the pages on your website, it's time to create one. Create 2 new pages on your website, About and Blog. Add navigation links to your pages, and then deploy. So under our pages directory, you will see the existing index file. In that same folder, create a new file called about.astro, and copy or retype the contents of index into your about. Okay, so let's go back to here, source. We will, in here, create a new file, about.astro. We're going to copy the contents of this one here into about. We'll call this page about, and we'll set a heading as well. Save that. Copy or retype the contents. We've done that. Add about to the end of the website of your website. Preview URL, the address bar, and check that you can see a page load there. So let's see if that's going to work right off the bat here. And it won't, because we need to commit our changes. So we'll click here. We're going to have to commit again. Yes. And feel free to add in the comments below if I'm doing this in a bit of an inefficient way with the git commits. Like I said, pretty new or pretty unfamiliar with it as I get back into using version control. Let's see. Still not loaded up yet. Okay, right now your about page should look exactly the same as your first page. That's still going, but it should work locally. And you can see it there. So now we just need it live on our Netlify URL. Oh, commit message. I guess that's what added about page. We'll save that. Maybe that's what I need to do. Initial commit, added about page. So let's have a look. Pages. Still not on here. Okay, we just pushed. There we go. Now about. Now we'll try Netlify. Still not. Commit. Okay. Did a hard refresh as well. Okay, so we won't worry about that right now. So edit the HTML content. So we can copy this. Let's see what it copied. Everything from body. So we'll paste that into here. We'll save it. We'll visit it locally, and it's already updated there. So now so we want to add navigation links to make it easier to preview all of your pages in an HTML page before your H1 at the top. Add HTML page navigation before it. So let's copy that. And before about me. And let's get rid of this H1. Brought that in as well. We'll save that. There we go. We got a couple of links. Home, about. Yes, we can go back and forth. So unlike many frameworks, Astro uses standard HTML anchor elements to navigate between pages, also called routes with traditional page refreshes. Just try it yourself. Add a blog page, add a third page, blog.astro on your site, and follow the same steps as above. Don't forget to add a third navigation link. That's fine. So let's do that. Blog.astro. We'll just copy the contents of about. And we'll call this our blog page. Add a separate navigation link. I'll just say loading blog posts. And we'll copy this navigation over into our index file, as well as our about. We'll just update it. So that is done. So publish your changes to the web. So first, let's just make sure this is working as it should. Home, blog, about. Okay. So if you followed our setup in Unit 1, you can publish your changes to your live site through Netlify. When you're happy with the way your preview looks, commit your changes to your online repository in GitHub. So preview the files that you've changed. Go to source control. You should have small 3 displayed. You should see these files. Enter commit message. Example, added two new pages. Let's just copy that. And press Control Enter to commit the change to your current workspace. Click the button to sync changes to GitHub. Wait a few minutes, visit your Netlify URL. So let's just refresh this now. Oh, see, now it loaded up. So it just takes a little while to load up. So let's do this. Let's commit these. Yes. We're going to type that in, Command Enter. Oh, I guess just save that. Close that out. Push one commit to origin. Okay, let's push that out. Let's go over to here. Let's refresh GitHub. And there we go. So we've got about with our navigation links as well as our blog page. So that's been added. So that's good. Imagine Netlify is going to take a little while to update here, even doing a hard refresh. So that will be pushed shortly. So we've done that. So I can create a new page. We've done that. I can commit my changes back to GitHub and update my live site. Yes. Write your first Markdown blog post. So we're going to create our first .md file, which stands for Markdown. Create a new directory at source pages posts. Add a new empty file, post1.md, inside your post folder. Okay, let's do that. So inside of pages, we need another folder called posts. And inside of posts, we want to add a file called post1.markdown. Look for this page in your browser by previewing posts/post1. Did not load up, so let's try that again. So pages, post1. Let's just confirm here. Add a new directory, post-1. Let's go back. Let's try posts. Let's see if that loads up. Nothing. Let's add some content in here. Okay, so we've got source pages, then we've got post directory inside of it, and then we have inside of that post-1.md, which is what we want. Let's copy the contents here of post 1. Let's paste that in. Click save. Let's go back, and let's just go back to the root. Ensure these are working. Blog. And what do we call, what's our URL supposed to be? So, /posts. And we'll go /post-1. There we go, my first blog post. So that's working there. Change the browser preview URL to post 2. And that's the error page, the 404 we have, which we were just seeing. Note the different output when previewing an empty page, one that doesn't exist. Okay, so we've done that. Check your browser preview again. You should now see the content there. It may not have yet properly formatted, but don't worry, you will update this later in the tutorial. Let's have a quick look back here. Yeah, we do see the formatting. You see the bold text there. Use your browser's dev tools to inspect the page. Notice that although you have not typed any HTML elements, your markdown has been converted to HTML. You can see elements such as headings, paragraphs, and list items. So if we even view our source here, you can see we have our heading 2. We've got an ordered list, our list items. We've got our paragraph tags as well as strong tags to define text there. And we've got IDs applied to this H2 as well. So we'll close that out. Link to your post, link to your first post with an anchor tag. And this is going to be within our blog.astro file. So let's copy this right here. Let's copy the entire file. Go back to our blog.astro and let's paste that right in. Let's go back to our blog page. There we go, post 1. There's our first post. Great. Now add 2 more files in source pages post 2, post 3. Here's some sample code. Perfect. We'll just copy those. We'll just go, why don't we do it like this? Post 2 and post 3. Copy our source. Add these links. So we're going to update our blog page again. So now we have 3 links here. Post 2. Post 3. Great. So you can see also too that it's pretty simple with the routing. It's just file-based routing, which is kind of nice. So we didn't have to define anything extra. It's all just based on the file names here and the directories. Check your browser preview and make sure that these are working. Find a mistake, check your links on blog.astro or your markdown file names. So test your knowledge. Content in markdown file is converted to HTML. Checklist, I can create a new folder. Yes, so I've done that. I can create a new markdown file. We've done that. And I understand that markdown is another language that, like Astro, produces HTML in my browser. Yes. So next, add dynamic content about you. Add dynamic content about you. Now that you have a multi-page website with HTML, it's time to add some dynamic HTML. Any HTML is valid Astro language, but you can do more with Astro than just regular HTML. So define a user variable open about.astro, which should look like this. Add the following line of JavaScript in the front matter script, so between the code fences. So this is up at the top. So you might have noticed this and wondering why this was there. I had noticed this as well. So let's go to our About page here. Let's go back here, and we're going to add this up at the top. So page title, About Me. Replace both the static Astro title and About Me heading in your HTML with dynamic variables. So page title. So this is pretty nice to be able to have variables within here. So we can replace this right here within these curly braces. And we can also go right here instead of our H1. Okay, let's go ahead, we'll save that. And you'll see that we did have, this was about our title tag. So now it should change to About Me. So let's go up here, we'll click on our About page. You'll notice up here that tab at the top says About Me. This says About Me. So if I update my variable, I added some extra letters, I save that. There we go, it's reflected up in the title tag as well as our header. Let's undo that. That's great, so now we can add some JavaScript up there. Your page should look the same and your page title displayed in the browser tab. Yes, we've done that. Use the same pattern to create a page title value in your index, homepage, and blog. Update the HTML with these pages. I'm not too worried about that. It's pretty basic. Write JavaScript expressions in Astro. So here we go. Add the following JavaScript to your front matter between the code fences. So you can customize the code for yourself. Let's go ahead. We're going to copy this here. We'll add this up at the top of About Me. Okay, and let's copy the entire thing. So let's just get rid of this and get rid of that. Okay. All right, so it looks like we have an object here with a key of first name, country, occupation, hobbies, contains an array, so of different hobbies that this person has. And then we also have an array called skills, and you can see their different development skills here. Then add the following code to your HTML template. So here are a few facts about me, so let's copy that. So we'll just replace that, and let's just fix up this formatting a bit so it's a little bit easier to read. So we've got an unordered list, and then we're accessing the first name through the identity variable here, just with some dot syntax, because we're just using JavaScript up here using object dot syntax. I live in my country, and I work as, let's say, occupation, as a technical writer. And then, let's see, identity.hobbies.length, if it's greater than or equal to 2, then 2 of my hobbies are identity.hobbies. Let's see what that outputs here. 2 of my hobbies are photography and bird watching. So it's just pulling in the first 2 here because we're explicitly picking those, 0 and 1. And then my skills are, and then it's using the map method here to loop through and then display all of their skills. So it's pretty neat that we can use JavaScript right directly in here. Takeaways. Write an Astro template is very much like writing HTML, but you can also include JavaScript expressions. Astro front matter script contains only JavaScript. You can use all modern JavaScript logical operators, expressions, and functions in either section of your Astro site, but curly braces are necessarily only in the HTML body. So test your knowledge. An Astro file's front matter is written in JavaScript. In addition to HTML, Astro syntax allows you to include, we're going to go markdown, but it must be JavaScript expressions, I guess up the top there. When you need to write your JavaScript inside curly braces, When do you need to? When you're not sure whether it's correct, when you're inside HTML template section between the code fences. When do you need to? There we go, right here. Okay. Next, we're going to conditionally render elements. You can also use your script variables to choose whether or not to render individual elements of your HTML content. Add the following lines to your front matter script to define variables. So below our skills, we'll add this. Happy, true, finished is false, and goal is 3. And then we'll add the following lines below our paragraphs. Happy, let's go copy all of that. And we'll add it down here. Let's see what the output is. I am happy to be learning Astro. My goal is to finish in 3 days. So, happy. Let's see how it is. Happy is true. Finish was false and goal is 3. So if happy and I am happy to be learning Astro, and if you're finished, I finished the tutorial. So if we changed this, happy would be, or finished would be true. Let's update that and see what happens. I finished the tutorial. If we change that back to false, it just removes that sentence right there. And then my goal, if it's identical to 3, then my goal is to finish within 3 days. And if not, my goal is not 3 days. Okay. So there's some dynamic content. Commit your changes to GitHub before moving on. Do this anytime you want to save your work and update your live site. Tip: Astro's templating syntax is similar to JSX syntax. If you're ever wondering how to use your script in your HTML, then searching for how it's done in JSX is probably a good starting point. That's interesting. Analyze the pattern given the following Astro script. For each, can you predict the HTML, if any, that will be sent to the browser? Click to reveal if you're right. Oops, I clicked that by accident. Student is currently false. Student and I am still in school. No, so nothing, right? Nothing will display. I have a quantity plus, so quantity is 3. I have 11 pairs of boots. There we go. And operating system is Mac OS X. If that's correct, then I am using a Mac. But if not, I am not using a Mac, so we will say I am not using a Mac. Okay. I can define values in and use values in .astro files. Yeah. I can conditionally render HTML elements. Yes. Next, we're going to style our About Astro page. Okay, before we style it, why don't we just commit our changes first? So let's commit these. Save that. Let's make sure that was updated. And there we are. Okay, so style your About page. So let's style the individual page. So using Astro's own style tags, you can style items on your page. Adding attributes and directives to these tags gives you even more ways to style. So let's copy our style tags right there. So our About page. Let's see what we've got here. So HTML. Okay, so we've got some style tags there. Let's save that. There we go. So we've got our heading styled. Check all 3 pages in your browser preview. Which color is the page title of your home page, about page, blog page. The page with the biggest text title is. So style, this should only apply directly to our about page is what I'm thinking. So your home page, what color? It should still be black. Your about page would be the purple, and the blog should still be black. Page title, the biggest title should be our about page. Yes, that's correct. I'm not going to check because we know that style should just be scoped to the individual page. Add the class name skill to the generated li elements on your about page so you can style them. Your code should now look like this. Okay, my skills are, we'll just copy this right there. Okay, so now we've added the class skill here. And now we should add in some CSS for it. It's a color green, font weight is bold. We'll save that. And there we are. That's now green. Okay, through the visual inspection of DevTools, each item of your skill is now green and bold. Yes, we see that. Use your first CSS variable. Let's see. Astro style tag can also reference any variables from your front matter script using the define vars directive. You can define variables within your code fence and then use them as CSS variables in your style tag. So let's define a skill color variable by adding it to the front matter of the script in about. So const skill color was going to be navy. So we'll add that to the bottom here. It is going to be navy. Alright, we'll just keep it consistent here with the double. So update your style tag for skill. We're going to go color and we'll go var skill color. There we go. Let's just have a look here. Color, skill color, so it's not finding that. What am I doing wrong? Oh, right here. That is why. So we have to define the variables first. So style, define vars, skill color. Let's try that now. And there we go. It's navy. Let's inspect it. There we go. Navy. So that is correct. So try it yourself. Define CSS variables. Update your style tag on your about page so that it matches the one below. So let's copy that. Okay, so now new variables for font weight and text case. Add any missing variable definitions to your front matter script so your new style applies these settings. So text should be bold and list items would be all caps. Okay. So let's go the skills. Were those list items? Let's see here. Yeah. So we'll go const, we'll add it right below it. And what do we call this? Font weight. Yeah. Font weight would be equal to bold. Const text case will be uppercase. So text case, text transform. Save that. Let's go back here. Refresh. Bold. Okay, so any of the skills should have the color navy. Font weight is bold. What is the text? text transform. Let's see. Uppercase. Text case is equal to uppercase. That should be correct. Oh, now it's working. I don't think I made any changes there, but there we go. So we've done that. I can add CSS styles. Yes, we've done that. I can use variables. We've done that. Add site-wide styling. Now that you've have a styled about page, it's time to add some global styles for the rest of your site. So let's apply global styles. Okay, so you've seen that Astro style tag is scoped by default, meaning that it only affects the elements in its own file, which we saw with that heading. There are a few ways to define styles globally in Astro, but in this tutorial, you'll create and import a global.css file on each of your pages. This combination of style sheet and style tag gives you the ability to control some styles site-wide and to apply some specific styles exactly where you want them. So create a new file, global.css, inside of source. Then we will go new folder, styles, and inside of that we'll create a file called global.css. We'll copy what they're giving us here, and it's not going to work yet, or it shouldn't, because we have not defined global.css anywhere. So in about.astro, add the following import statement to front matter. We'll add that right at the top here. Oh. We'll save that. And there we go. So our CSS styles are being applied. Check the browser preview. Yes, they've applied. Try it yourself. Import your global style sheet. Add the necessary line of code to each Astro file in your project to apply global styles. Make any changes or additions you want. So we're going to apply this to all our pages. I'm going to assume that we have a way to import to every page, but we will see. So home, blog, about. What's going on? There we are. These are backwards, that's why. Okay, make any changes you want. Yes, we saw that. So analyze the pattern. So your about page is now styled with both the imported global.css and a style tag. Are styles from both styling methods being applied? That should be yes. Are there any conflicting styles? And if so, which are applied? So we would look at our about page because that's the only one that we have styles. So it would be skill color, font weight, text case. I believe that's all we added here. Oh, we also have our H1, which would be overriding it, so it should be our heading. Yes, the H1. Describe how global.css and style work together. This is scoped to the particular page, and then global is a global one there. How would you choose whether to declare a style in global.css or a style tag? Well, I would assume if it's something global for all pages, we should be putting it in here, but something specific for that page or component should be style. Yes, site-wide, you choose global.css. I can add global styles. Yes, let's move on. Okay, we've completed the first three here. Well, I guess we're on number 3. 0 was our setup. So now we're moving on to components. Now that you have an Astro and .md files generating entire pages on your website, it's time to make and reuse smaller bits of HTML and Astro components. Looking ahead, we will learn how to create Astro components to reuse code for common elements. We're going to build a navigation component, a footer component, a social media component, and an interactive hamburger component to toggle navigation. You'll use CSS and JavaScript to build a responsive design. I'm ready. Make a reusable navigation component. So create a new source/components folder. to whole.astro files. Now we're going to create a file called navigation.astro. It looks like a capital N, so I'm going to assume that is their convention. And we're going to copy this. And notice the components also have front matter here. There we go. So this is how we will have this apply to all of our pages. So it's a single section. If there's nothing in front matter of your Astro file, you don't need to write the code fences. You can always add them back in when you need them. That's interesting. Import and use navigation.astro. So go back to your index file and we're going to import navigation inside our component. So let's get rid of some of these files that we don't need open. So about, global, we'll close blog. Okay, so now let's open index again. So we're going to import this up the top. So import navigation, which uses this file name from this file. So we've done that, but it's not going to do anything because we haven't called it anywhere. Then below, replace the navigation with the new navigation component you just created. Okay, and it's a self-closing tag. Let's save that. Let's go to home, and there it is. So we've got that working. Check the preview. Your site contains the same HTML as it did before, but now those 3 lines are provided by your navigation component. Try it yourself. Add navigation to the rest of your site. Import and use the navigation component on blog and about. Don't forget to add the import statement at the top and inside the code fets, replace existing code. Note, when you restructure your code but do not change the way your page looks in the browser, you are refactoring. You will refactor several times in this unit as you replace parts of your page HTML with components. This allows you to get started quickly without or with any working code, often duplicated throughout your project. Then you can improve your existing codes designed incrementally without changing the outward appearance of the site. So let's just do that quick. Import about and blog, and then we're going to call our component. There it is. Okay, let's ensure that's working. And it is. Test your knowledge. You can do this when you have elements repeated on multiple pages. Refactor to use a reusable component. Astro components are reusable, yes, and fragments of HTML. I'd say both of the above. Astro components will automatically create a new page on your site when you include HTML, refactor, put the .astro file with within source.pages. Automatically create a new page. Let's see here. Maybe .astro. Is that right? Yep. Checklist, I can refactor content into reusable components. Yes, and we've done this as well. Create a social media footer. Create a footer component. Footer.astro. Copy the following code in your file. So inside our components, we're going to call it footer, capital F, .astro. Paste that in. Import our footer, so index into our index about and blog. Let's just do them all here. And now we need to call it using just the tag that we've defined it by. Footer. All right, let's have a look, see what it looks like. There it is, learn more about my projects on GitHub. Okay. In your browser preview, check that we can see it. Try it yourself, personalize it. We can do that if you like, but we get the idea. Code check, and if you've been following along with each step in the tutorial, your index.astro file should look like this. Create a social media component. Since you have multiple accounts online you can link to, and you can make a single reusable component and display it multiple times. Each time you will pass it different properties, props, to use the online platform and the username there. Okay. Copy the following code into our social.astro file. We'll create a new one. Social.astro. So we'll save that. So now we're going to import and use social.astro into our footer. So change the code in our footer to import. So let's see here. Let's open up our footer. So inside of our footer, let's see here. So get rid of these variables here. We're going to import our social component. And then we're going to remove this. And we're going to plunk these in here. So inside of our footer, we're going to call our social component with platform and username. And let's just have a look back here. So const platform username. So we're defining props to plunk in the content into here. Check your browser preview. All right, let's see what it looks like. So Twitter, you can see the links on the bottom left of my screen, and they are working there. So now we want to style our component. Customize the appearance of your links by adding a style tag to our components. So inside of our social file, we just add a style tag right there. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's working already. Add a style tag to your footer. To footer to improve the layout. What did it add? Footer, display flex, gap was 1. Let's just ensure that is working. I believe it is. Footer, right there, display flex, gap, margin top. Great. So check your browser preview. Yes, it is working. Test yourself. What line of code do you need to write in an Astro component's front matter to receive values of title, author, date as props? We would want to do these ones right here. How do you pass values as props into the Astro component? We would pass them like so. Checklist. I can create a new Astro component. Yes, we've done all of these. So now we're going to build a header. Get ready to create a header. Try it yourself, build a new header. Create a new header component, import, and use your existing navigation component inside a navigation element, which is inside the header. So let's just try this out. Let's just copy this for now. I guess we don't need that. Get rid of that for now. So we created the component, import and use your existing navigation.astro component inside a nav element. Okay, so we want to import navigation. So we're doing that, and then we want to use it inside of, let's see, and use your existing navigation component inside of a nav element, which is inside a header. Okay, so we will do it like this. Header nav, and then we're going to call our navigation component. Should be it. Just clean that up. So header. So we've done that, but now we also have to call our header inside of our file. So let's see what it wants us to do here. So let's just confirm this is good. Import navigation, yes. Oh yeah, we can get rid of this style. We'll leave the style tags there, but header nav navigation, that is correct. So on each page, replace your existing navigation component with your new header component. So we're going to replace it with header. I'm hoping we can just get rid of that import on the navigation. We should, because it's being imported into header. So let's just confirm. Yeah, and that does work still. Oh wait, that is the blog page. But it does work on the index page as well. We shouldn't really see any changes either. So header. And then let's also grab this. Okay, so now let's update, refresh. All seems to be working. Show me the code. Yes, remove this, add that. Remove this, add that. We've done that in all of them. Okay, add responsive styles. So update navigation.astro with the CSS class to control your navigation links. Okay. Wrap the existing navigation links inside a div with a class of nav links. So div home about blog. So navigation. Div with a class of nav links. Oop. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, we'll save that. And now we're going to add some CSS. Copy the CSS styles below into your global styles. So navigation styles, we'll just copy this and place it right at the end of our global styles. So global.css. So now let's see what our navigation looks like. There we go. Excellent. Resize your window and look for different styles being applied at different. Okay. We will do it like this. You'll see our header or our navigation jumps from the top. Oh, it doesn't jump from the top, it goes away. Let's see if our hamburger menu, no hamburger menu, it's just not there. So let's close that out. Let's do this. Yeah, it just disappears. Resize your window. Your header is now responsive to the screen size through the use of media queries. Okay. We've done that. Send your first script to the browser. So now we're going to do a hamburger component. So let's build it out. Create a hamburger component to open and close your mobile menu. Create a file named hamburger.astro. And we're going to copy this into it. place this new hamburger component just before your navigation component in the header. So our header, just before the navigation. I assume before, let's see here, just before your navigation. Okay, so in here. It should be like that, yeah. That's what we have. Add the following styles for your hamburger component. So we're going to add this at the top here. Add it in right there. Oh, this tag did not close itself. That's where we got the red error. Let's try that. Oh, here we go. We have to import our hamburger. That's why it's not working. There we go. Now let's have a look. There's our hamburger menu. So it's there, it's displaying. It's not functioning though. So now we're going to use our script tag here. So your header is not yet interactive because it can't respond to user input. Add a script tag, or adding a script tag provides client-side JavaScript to listen for a user event and respond accordingly. Add the following script tag to index.astro just before the closing body tag. So to our index file, right there. So document.querySelector, it's selecting the hamburger. It's listening for the event of click. So once you click on the icon with a class of hamburger, then it is going to select the links and have links, and it's going to toggle it. So let's check it out. Let's do a hard refresh. Not working. Check your browser preview again at various sizes and verify that you have a working navigation menu that is both responsive to screen size and responds to user input. So importing a JavaScript file. Okay, so let's try that. Let's go back to our home page. Okay, let's close that down and let's resize this. There we go. So it works on the mobile menu there. If we make it bigger, I guess because it's already displayed, but when it goes here, there we go. Let's make it bigger. It's just displayed. So obviously it's not formatted in a great way, but that's okay. So importing a JavaScript file. Instead of writing your JavaScript directly on each page, you can move the contents of your script tag into its own JavaScript file in the project, which is good. So create source scripts menu.js. Okay, and we're going to copy that into it. Menu.js. And we're going to paste that in here, and I imagine we can remove it from here, from our index file. But now we need to call it. Oh yeah, we're just going to replace it with an import. Replace the contents on the index with an import statement. Yeah, within our script tag. Okay, check your browser preview again at a smaller size and verify the hamburger menu still opens and closes your links. And then we're going to add the same script with import to our other two pages, about and blog. Sure, it's working again. There it is. Excellent. Let's go to about. Is it going to work? No, it shouldn't because it's not imported there. So let's do that now. Refresh here. Now it's going to work. Great. All right, takeaway. Yeah, we've done that. Test your knowledge. When does Astro run any JavaScript written in a components from matter? Let's see, when does any JavaScript? I'm going to say at build time. Okay, optionally, Astro can send JavaScript to the browser to allow user to click consent pages, faster load times. We want it for client-side interactivity. And then the client-side JavaScript will be sent to a user's browser when it is written or imported in script tags right there. Okay, what we're going to do is I'd like to commit. We got a lot of changes here, so let's just commit here. Yes, we want to commit that. And what do we do? Added global files. Added menu functionality. Added global styles. We'll just go with that for now. That's fine. And let's go here. Styles, yeah, that's all being added. I wonder how it's looking on Netlify right now. I imagine it's not there yet, but so we just pushed a lot of changes, including our global styles, which aren't there yet. So we'll check that out shortly. So checklist, and you know what? I guess it's also important to do it here because the idea is that with an Astro site, as JavaScript is not shipped directly to the client unless we request that to be done. And you know, so we want to test out on a live site like that. So I can add client-side interactivity with JavaScript, yes. I can import a JavaScript file into a script tag, yes. Check in Unit 4 is going to be layouts. Okay, so I'm ready to take my page design to the next level. Build your first layout. Refactor common elements into a page layout. Yes. Create your first layout component. So create a new file at the location source layouts base layout.astro. New file within that base layout. And we're going to copy this. So we're importing a header, importing the footer, importing global styles, and we're assigning a page title. And then we've got our script import at the bottom here. So now use your layout on a page. So replace the code on index with the following. Base layout. You'll see these tags here. Close up some of these that we're not using. Save that. Check the browser preview to notice what you did or did not change. There we go. It's now titled homepage. We don't have this coming in. Base layout. My awesome blog subtitle. Homepage. And let's see, base layout. So it's going to pull in the page title. Okay, so let's go back. Add a slot. So that's where we need to add in the slot for our content, right? My awesome blog title. Let's see, just above the footer is where we need our slot. So we've got our H1, we've got our slot. Now this should come in here, I'm guessing, the H2. There it is, my awesome blog subtitle. The slot allows you to inject or slot in child content written between the opening and closing component tags to any component.astro file. So now we can also pass page-specific values as props. So pass the page title to your layout component from the index.astro file using a component attribute. Okay, so base layout, page title is equal to page title. So index.astro. I'm going to pass that in. Change the script of your base layout.astro layout component to receive a page title via props. So base layout. Okay, so instead of it defining it here in base layout, up at the top here, because we're saying home page, we want to replace that const page title with props. And then base layout, inside of our index, we just did that right there. Okay, so we're adding the prop there. Okay, now let's check it out. Yeah, no change, home page. We're not doing anything on about yet. Okay, let's go back. You know, while we're here, let's just quickly check out Netlify, do a hard refresh. There we go. So now we're getting updated here, which is great. Also see how speed at which these load. Check your browser preview to verify your page title has not changed, which is great. So try it yourself, use your layout everywhere. Refactor your other pages, blog and about, so that they can use your new base layout. So we don't want to forget to pass a page title as props. Let the layout be responsible for the HTML rendering. Move any existing HTML style tags in that page head with styles you wish to keep. Delete anything from each individual page that is now being handled by the layout. So that's HTML elements, components, CSS rules in a style. For example, H1 or that, keep your about styles. So if we wanted to keep it, we could do it. So let's just do this quick. So we've got index, page title, and we need base layout. So about. We're going to keep those. Page title will be about me. And we'll call this one blog. Now we're defining our base layout. Okay, so we already have our HTML because it contains the HTML head, all of that. So let's get rid of everything except the content. And again, I don't mind removing this CSS here. So header, page title. Base layout. And then we're going to get rid of this. Close our base layout. Page title should automatically pull in our page title up here. So let's just check that out. Let's see how the about page is looking now. About me, my new Astro site. Yeah, that is there as a slot. All of this content. Okay, and obviously we remove this as well as the formatting here. Let's see what it said about that. Keeping your about page styles. Using the base layout to render about page means you will lose the styles, which we did. To continue to use styles only at the page level, using Astro scope styling, move the style tag to the body of the page component. This allows you to style elements created in the page component. Example, your list of skills. Since your H1 is now created by your layout component, you can add the isGlobal attribute to your style tag to affect every element on this page, including those created by other components. Okay, that's interesting. So let's undo this. So these are our styles. I'm going to copy that. Now I'm going to redo, getting rid of them. And now, I believe we can add them up here. So let's save that. And there's our styles. So our styles were navy, bold, uppercase, which we've done there. And let's see if there's anything else we needed to do. So let's see here. Style is global, define vars. And then if we wanted to make it global, then we could do that. But we only want that applied to this particular page, so we're going to leave it as is. So test your knowledge. An Astro component can function as a page UI component layout. I guess all of the above. Does display a page title on the page? You can. I think we can do all of the above. Information can be passed from one component to another by importing UI component, rendering it. We can pass props where it is rendered via a component attribute, sending HTML content to be rendered inside using slot. All of the above. So we've done both of these. Okay, create and pass data to a custom blog layout. Now that you have, you know what, actually let's go back. Let's also commit our changes. Save all of our pages first. What are we missing here? Blog.astro. Oh, maybe we didn't do this one here. Base layout. No, we got that. We have to apply our base layout here. Let's ensure that's working. Great. Posts are working. Okay, we didn't do formatting on the posts, but that is okay. I think that's what we're doing coming up here. So let's commit these changes. Okay, let's move on. So add a layout to your blog post. When you include a layout formatter or front matter property in a markdown file, all of your front matter YAML values are available to the layout file. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I assume so. Create a new file at source layouts markdown post layout.astro. What are we? Source layouts. There we are. Copy the following code there. So we've got front matter, Astro props, front matter title, the author for the blog, and then the slot will be the blog content. Add the following front matter property in our post. So we've already got title, everything else. So we're now calling in this layout. Check your browser again and notice the layout has changed, or has added to the page. Nope, let's refresh. Let's see here. What's our layout look like? Base layout. Markdown post layout. So front matter title and written by. Oh, okay. You know what? Let's close that out. Save it. Oops. Post one. Let's get rid of this. Yes. So it was working. you'll notice the written by here, and then it's formatted in the H1, but I think right here, written by, and then the author. So we'll save that. We'll put this back in, and now we will check. See, written by, removed the published here. So now we've got my first blog post, but we have some duplicate content here. Check your browser and notice the layout is being added. Add the same layout property to your other two posts. Okay. Post 2, post 3, written by, yep, there we are. So we've done that. When using layouts, you now have the option of including elements like a page title in the markdown content or in the layout. Remember to visually inspect your page preview and make any adjustments necessary to avoid duplicated elements. So obviously we have duplicate elements with my first blog post and publish. So let's just go ahead and have a look here. Because we're calling front matter title and author here. So why don't we go ahead, and we don't need published on and my first blog post here, because that is hard coded in. Let's check out our post now. There we are. Written by. I mean, we could include the published date, but I'm not worried about that. Let's go back, post 2. There we go. And post 3. Yeah, those are fine. Let's go back. Try it yourself. Customize your blog post layout. Identify items common to every blog post and use markdown layout.astro to render them instead of writing them in your markdown in post 1 and every future blog post. Here's an example of refactoring your code to include the published date in the layout component instead of writing it in the body. So I guess we could do this. So we could just take it up here. I just did remove it, but that's okay. We'll move it up into the markdown post here. Let's check it out real quick. And it's being applied. Refactor as much as you think is useful to you and add as much to your layout as you want. Remember that everything that you add to your layout is one less thing you will write in each and every blog post. Here is an example of a refactored layout that leaves only individual blog post content rendered by the slot. We're just going to use this. And we'll check it out. That's better. Okay. So, test your knowledge. Can you figure out what should go in the blank so that the following two components together produce Astro working code? Layout, my markdown. Let's see here. So just in the blank. So that should be our source, and it should be layouts. I think posts. I can't remember. And then import footer, and then it should be const. Let's see here. We're calling props. I'm not sure on that one. So yeah, layouts, import footer. Okay, const front matter. Okay, there we go. Checklist. I can add a layout property and markdown blog. Yeah. Good. Combine layouts to get the best of both worlds. Okay, now that you have added a layout to each blog post, it's time to make your post look like the rest of your pages on the website. So nest your two layouts. You already have a base layout.astro for defining the overall layout. Markdown post layout gives you some additional templating for blog post properties such as title and date, but your blog posts don't look like other pages. You can match the look of your blog post to the rest of the site by nesting layouts. So inside source layouts markdown post, we're going to import our base layout and use it to wrap the entire template content. Don't forget to pass the page title prop. So inside of here, we want to import, how do we do that? Base layout from. Now there we go, that filled it in, excellent. And then base layout, we need our props here. So inside H1. And we'll close it off here. We've got our slot there. We'll save that. Check your browser preview. Now you should see content rendered by your main page layout, blog post layout, and individual blog post markdown content. Notice that your page title is now displayed twice, once by each layout. So let's first have a look here. Yeah, that's good though. Alright, so that needs to be corrected. Notice that it's there. Remove the line that displays it from markdown post. So we'll get rid of this one. Because if we open up base layout, let's just have a look again. Pages layouts, base layout. It's pulling in page title right there. Okay. Check your browser again and verify the line is no longer there. All right, perfect. So now let's commit these. So we'll just keep it general like that and push that to Netlify. Test your knowledge. This allows you to nest one layout inside another and take advantage of working with modular pieces. Component-based design. Multiple layouts are particularly useful for projects that may contain markdown pages like a blog. Which of these provides templating for all your pages? Base layout.astro. Yes, I can nest layouts. Now we're going to go on to Section 5, or Unit 5, the Astro API. Now that you have some blog posts, it's time to use Astro's API to work with your files. Looking ahead in this unit, we'll supercharge your blog with an index page, tag pages, and an RSS feed. Along the way, you'll learn how to use import.meta.globe to access data from files in your project, get static paths to create multiple pages or routes at once, the Astro RSS package to create an RSS feed. Ready to do that? Okay, now that you have a few blog posts to link to, it's time to configure the blog page to create a list of them automatically. Access data from all your posts at once using import.meta.globe. Display a dynamically generate lists of posts from your blog page and refactor to use the blog post component for each. Dynamically display a list of posts. So add the following code to blog.astro to return the information about all your markdown files. Import.meta.globe will return an array of objects, one for each blog post. So inside our blog.astro, I am going to paste this, and this is going to grab the posts, all the markdown files within the post directory. So it's searching for all of these, importing them into an object that we're assigning, that we're calling all posts. Alright, to generate the entire list of posts dynamically using the post titles and URLs, replace your individual li tags with the following Astro code. So this is going to loop through all of them. So we're replacing this right here with it. all post.map method post, and it's going to pull in the URL and the title. So let's save that. Should say no change. My first blog post, my second blog post. Okay. Your entire list of posts is now being generated dynamically using Astro's built-in TypeScript support by mapping over the array returned by import.meta.globe. Add a new blog post by creating a new post.for file and add some markdown content. Be sure to include at least the front matter properties and use below. So we'll just copy this and we'll add a new post. Post forward-4.md. Let's have a look. And there we go. Fourth blog post automatically or dynamically generated there. Revisit your blog page to preview and look for updated. Yes, we see that. Challenge, create a blog post component. Try on your own to make all the necessary changes to your Astro project so that you can instead use the following code to generate your list of blog posts. Let's see what the change here is. All posts. Let's compare these. Post any blog post URL. Okay, so the change here is now we have a component called blog post. So let's try it. Let's take it one step at a time here. Let's create a new component and we will call it blog post .astro. And let's have a look at what our other, let's grab it from here and paste that in here. So we don't need to import anything as of right now. We don't have any styles to apply either, so we can get rid of that. And then our content, let's go back and see what we need to pull in here. So blog.astro. So we are passing in props, URL, title. So let's see how we passed in props again. Okay, so astro.props. So we want to pass in URL and title will be our props. Let's close out some of these pages so it's a little bit cleaner here. Inside blog post. And I said we want URL and title. So we've got Astro props there. And now we don't need this one. So const front matter. Get rid of that layout. Let's see which is the one we had props in, not that one. Right here. And then we call our props that way. So blog post, URL. Okay, so we've got that called in. We want to call the blog post. Alright, let's go back here. I'm getting a bit stuck here. So see the steps. So create a new component. Yes, we've done that. Blog post.astro. Write the line of your component. So declare. So const title URL astro.props. We've done that. Or URL title, doesn't matter. Add the templating used to create each item in your blog post list. Okay, so li. We're just going to copy that into here. Okay, so list item. I see. Yeah, because we want to display it like this. So instead of staring at this one, I needed to look at this because this is what we're trying to use right there, which is pretty straightforward. Okay, So now that's good. It's a blog post. Now if we get rid of this here, and so import base layout. What was the other one we used again? It was social. Okay, so now we need to also import blog post. From there, it's nice it auto completes that. Let's save that. Let's see if that works or not. So my first blog post, my second blog post. So we've done that. We've imported it, which is what we just did. Check for yourself. And it is working now, which is exactly what we want right there. Okay, so test your knowledge. If your Astro component contains the following line of code, choose the syntax you could write to represent the title of your third blog post. It would be this one. A link to the URL of your first blog post. Your first post. And a component for each post. And obviously I'm just looking at the array key here. Component for each post, displaying the date that it was last updated. So we can't use this one or this one because those are specific keys for the third one and the first one. So it needs to be this, and we're looking for displaying the dates, a published date right there. Great. So I can do this and I can do that. Now we're going to generate tag pages. Okay, dynamic page routing. You can create entire sets of pages dynamically using .astro files that export a getStaticPaths function. So create pages dynamically. So create a new file here. You will have to create a new folder. Notice that the file name tag.astro uses square brackets. Paste the following code into the file. Interesting. So pages, tags, and then tag.astro. And then we're going to paste this inside of it. So we're importing a base layout. Export async function getStaticPath. So it's going to return these parameters with all these tags. Base layout, page title, post tag with tag. Okay. GetStaticPaths function returns an array of page routes, and all of the pages at those routes will use the same template defined in the file. If you have customized your blog post, then replace the individual tag values, Astro, successes, community, etc., with the tags used in your posts. Make sure that every blog post contains at least one tag written as an array, and then visit tags.astro in your browser to preview. Okay, so if you have customized your, then replace the individual tags. Well, we didn't customize them. So tags, Astro, blog, and public. Let's see here. Make sure that every blog post contains at least one tag written as an array, which is fine, which is what we want. Okay, now we have a fourth one. Okay, and then visit /tags.astro in your browser to preview, and you should see a page generated dynamically. Let's have a look. Posts tagged with Astro. Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, this should be displaying then. Visit that in your browser and preview. You should see a page from tag.astro. Check that you also have pages created for each of your tags at tags. We have to create page. Okay. Tags. Let's see. No, there's no links being generated. Let's try blogging. So let's try something else. Base layout. And this was the old base layout tag here. Oh, yeah, you know, obviously it wasn't going to work. We weren't even calling it in. Yeah, so it was just giving us post tag width and the tag name. So I think we just needed to move on. So we wasted a lot of time trying to diagnose that, but that's okay. That's the way these things go. And that's where we're learning this framework. Okay, so we're good with that. So filtered posts, there we go. That's done. Analyze the pattern for each of the following. State whether the code is written inside the getStaticPaths function or outside of it. The import meta, or import meta, I'm not sure. Let's go back up there. Let's see what we did. So import static paths, and what are we looking for here? That would be inside. I guess nothing can really be written outside for it to work there. The list of routes to be generated returned by getStaticPaths should be inside as well. And the received values of props and parameters to be used in the HTML template should be outside of that because we need to use it. Takeaway: if you need information to construct page routes, write it inside of your getStaticPaths. To receive information in the HTML, then you write it outside. Advanced JavaScript: generate pages from existing tags. So your tag pages are now defined statically in tag.astro. If you add a new tag to a blog post, you will also have to revisit the page and update the page routes. The following example shows how to replace your code on this page with the code that will automatically look for and generate pages for each tag used in your blog posts. Even if it looks challenging, you could try following along with the steps below to build this function yourself. If you don't want to walk through the JavaScript required right now, you can skip ahead to the finished version of the code and use it directly in your project, replacing the existing code. So I'm not too worried about it because I'm not here to do a JavaScript course right now. I want to just update this. Let's skip down. We're just going to copy this code right there. We're going to drop that in there. There we go. Let's go back. That still should be working. Tags Astro and blogging. Okay, so that is good there. So test your knowledge. Choose a term that matches the description. A function that returns an array of page routes should be getStaticPaths. The process of creating multiple page routes from one file in Astro would be dynamic routing. And a value that defines the name of a page route generated dynamically. The value that defines the name. Parameters. There we go. So checklist. I can generate pages dynamically and I can pass props to each page route. Next, we're going to build a tag index page. So use the pages/folder/index.astro routing pattern to add a tag index to your website. You could create a new file at source pages tags.astro, but since you already have a directory tags, you can take advantage of another routing pattern in Astro and keep all your files related to tags together. Try it yourself. Make a tag index page. So create a new index.astro file inside the tags directory. Okay. Navigate to /tags. Okay, it's going to be empty. Create a minimal page that uses your layout. You've done this before. We're just going to grab it from here. Okay, show the file name. Yes, index.astro. Let's just copy this and define a page title and pass it. Okay, so we've done that. Okay, tag index. So, create an array of tags. You've previously displayed items in a list from an array using map. What would it look like to define an array of all your tags, then display them in a list on the page? So, base layout. So we need to import our base layout. We've got our page title. We now need to set a variable or an array of our tags. Let's copy this. You could do this, but then you would need to come back to this file and update your array every time you use a new tag in a future blog post. Fortunately, you already know a way to grab the data from all your markdown files in one line of code, then return a list of all your tags. So in source pages tags index Astro, add the line of code to the formatter script that will give you access to the data. So we'll grab that. Back up here, grab this first. Okay. Oops. Symbol tags has already been declared. Oops, we don't need that. All right, there they are. Create your list of tags. So instead of creating items in an unordered list time, this time create one paragraph tag for each item inside the div. The pattern should look familiar. Let's see what that looks like. There we are. Now we're going to need to add some anchor tags. And there we go, and those link, you can see on the bottom left there, those are going to link to the correct tag-specific pages. Add styles to your tag list. So we can add some styles, add the following CSS classes. I'm not going to worry about that. Code check-in, we'll just grab that. I'm not too worried about this tag-specific content here. So there we go. We've got some nicely formatted tag links there. Now we can add this link to our navigation. So from this page you can click on the links, but you'll need to make these pages discoverable from other pages on your website. So in our navigation.astro component, include a link to the new tag index page. So navigation. We'll just call this tags, and this can link over to /tags. So home, blog, about, tags. Okay, so now we got our tag index page there. You can see the code that's provided. Challenge, include tags in your blog post layout. So you have now written all the code you need to display a list of tags on each blog post and link them to their tag pages. You have existing work that you can reuse. Follow the steps below, then check your work by comparing it to the final code sample. So we're going to copy div class tags and style from index.astro, and we're going to reuse it in our markdown post layout. So let's just do that. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of any of the files we don't need right now. So we're going to use our div with a class of tags. Okay, let's see here. Get rid of this one. This is the one we need. Div with a class of tags. So div with a class of tags, and we'll drop it below the image here. Grab the styles from here. And we'll drop it down here. And we're getting an error up here. So tags, cannot find tags because it's not defined here as it was defined here because we were pulling in the const there. So let's see what it says here. Before this code will work, you'll need to make one small edit to the code you pasted into the markdown layout file. So how are the other props, title, author, etc. written in our layout template? How does your layout receive props from an individual post? So it receives props from an individual post. So it receives the title through front matter dot title. And you see front matter dot, so we used base layout. No, not base layout. Let's see here. So this is our markdown file. Front matter dot author front matter. So I'm going to assume it's going to be front matter dot tags. We're going to save that. It's still giving us an error though, but this is corrected. So parameter tag implicitly has an any type. So this is a type issue here. So let's go open up our tag file here. So let's go have a look and see. So give me another hint. In order to use props, value passed from the markdown blog post in your layout, like tags, you need to prefix the value with a certain word, front matter. Okay, so we've done that, but this was missing here. Tag as defined as a string. So this is a TypeScript because we're defining that tag saying it's a string. So that's a little bit different than what was provided. Let's have a look up here. Tags, tag, yeah. So a little bit different there. Let's see if it explains why we need that TypeScript definition. But code check and markdown post layout. Yeah, so that is required. So let's save that. Again, not exactly sure on that, but this is why we're just walking through it and trying to diagnose the issue here. So, and there we go. It looks good there. So again, in our markdown post layout, we are dropping in a div with a class of tags, and now it's cycling through and grabbing all of the tags that we have passed in from here as a prop. Okay, so now test your knowledge. Match each file path with a second file path that will create a page at the same route. So pages, categories at Astro. I'm going to assume this here. Pages post.astro. And pages products shoes.astro. There we go. So I can use Astro's routing feature. So obviously we ran into some issues there. You know, I don't think I would have been able to figure that out, but this is why we go through this. And you know, as we keep building projects in a certain application, we're not gonna remember all the syntax. We're not gonna remember all those specific rules. That's why the documentation's here. That's why we got to go through this type of thing and go through some debugging. So next, add an RSS feed. So install Astro's RSS package. Astro provides a custom package to quickly add an RSS feed to your website. This official package generates a non-HTML document with information about all of your blog posts that can be read by feed readers like Feedly, The Old Reader, and more. This document updated every time your site is rebuilt. Individuals can subscribe to your feed in a feed reader and receive a notification when you publish a new blog on your site, making it a popular blog feature. So we got to quit the Astro development server and run the following command in the terminal to install Astro's RSS package. So let's copy that Let's open up our terminal here. Okay, I don't think npm stop to work. It's supposed to be Control C or Command C. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to quit this. We're going to open up VS Code again. Let's run the installer. npm run dev. Okay. Alright, so that's done. So now we need to create an XML feed document, create a new file in source pages and call it rss.xml.js. And copy the following code in this document. Customize the title, description, and properties if necessary. Specify a different language in custom data. So title, Astro, we'll call it Astro Tutorial. Description, my journey learning Astro is fine. Got a language set. We'll save that. Okay. Let's just see if this even comes up right away. rss.xml maybe. No. Let's see here. Where is it? Got it in our pages. rss.xml.js. I don't think we're going to need to add the JS. No, that's not going to come up. That's fine. Add the site property to the Astro config with your site's own unique netlify URL. So astro.conf, let's just locate this file. And let's copy, import. Okay, so we need our netlify URL here. Let's save that. Okay, yeah, see this? Okay, now it's appearing. So this was the link that I did try to visit already. RSS. There we go. And that's how XML should look. Okay, that's good. Download a feed reader or sign up for an online feed reader service and subscribe to your site by adding your own netlify URL. You can also share this link with others so they can subscribe to your posts and be notified when a new one is published. I can install that and I can create an RSS feed. Good. Okay, this looks like we're on our final unit here. Pretty exciting, the Astro Islands. So before we do that, let's go ahead and just commit these changes. There's a lot here. We'll just give it some generic description there. Okay, so now that you have a fully functioning blog, it's time to add some interactive islands to your site. So in this unit, you'll use Astro Islands to bring front-end framework components into your Astro site. You will add a UI framework, Preact, to your Astro project. Then we're going to use Preact to create an interactive greeting component. And then we're going to learn when you might not choose islands for interactivity. So let's do it. So add Preact to your Astro project. Include Astro Islands, Preact.jsx components on your homepage, and then use the client, binding directives to make islands interactive. So let's add Preact to our Astro project. So we need to add the ability to, let's add this, see if that, new terminal. Astro will run the following command. Yes. This component will take an array. Okay, so Astro will make the following changes to your config file. Import. We're going to go yes. Yes. Successfully updated TypeScript settings. Okay. So you'll see our config file is being updated here. Okay, so now we want to include a pre-act greeting banner. This component will take an array of greeting messages as a prop and randomly select one of them to show as a welcome message. The user can click a button to get a new random message. So create a new file in source components named greeting.jsx. This file will be written in Preact, not Astro. Add the following code. Import and use this component on your home page. So it's going to be the same sort of thing. So our home page. Let's find our index.astro file. And yeah, we want to import it just as we would another component. Import greeting. So let's just try doing it like this. Import greeting, and then it completes it. And then greeting messages, and we're going to pass in some messages here as an array. Check preview in your browser. You should see a random greeting, but the button won't work. Thank you for visiting. Okay, so no interactivity with that. Okay, add a second greeting component with the client load directive. Okay, so right below it. So client load directive. Okay. Thank you for visiting. Now this one does work. So the second button works because the client load directive tells Astro to send and rerun its JavaScript on the client when the page loads, making the component interactive. This is called a hydrated component. Once the difference is clear, remove the non-hydrated greeting component. Okay, we'll remove that. Okay, we're good there. Okay, analyze the other client directives to explore. Each sends the JavaScript to the client at a different time. So client visible, for example, will only send the component's JavaScript when it's visible on the page. Consider an Astro component with the following code. So we're importing base layout, Astro banner, Preact banner, svelte counter. Which of the 5 components will be hydrated islands sending JavaScript to the client? So it should be the Preact client load and svelte counter load. Svelte counter will be hydrated islands. In what way will the 2 Preact banner components be the same? In what way will they be different? Well, this one is not. This one will be shipped to the client on the page load, and then this one is just not being sent initially until it's called. They both show the same HTML elements. The difference is the component with the client load directive will re-render after the page is loaded, and any interactive elements that it has will work. So assume the svelte counter component shows a number and has a button to increase it. If you couldn't see your website's code, only the published page, how would you tell which of the 2 svelte counter components used client visible? So if you couldn't see the code, well, let's see. try clicking the button and see which one is interactive. If it responds to your input, it must have had a client directive. Let's test your knowledge. Which of the following components identify what will be sent to the browser? Okay, here we go. Client load. And spell card, it would be HTML and CSS only. So we've done that, as well as that. Back on dry land. Take your blog from day to night. No island required. Now that you can build Astro Islands for interactive elements, don't forget that you can go pretty far with just vanilla JavaScript and CSS. Let's build a clickable icon to let your users toggle between light or dark mode using another script tag for interactivity, with no framework JavaScript sent to the browser. So add and style a theme toggle icon. Create a new file. Okay. Paste in the following code. Add the icon to header.astro, so that'll be displayed on all pages. Don't forget to import the component. Import theme icon, and then we want to add theme icon. So there's the icon. You can see the icon. Nothing's going to work. Add CSS styling for a dark theme. So let's find our global.css file. And we'll just drop this at the bottom. Add client-side interactivity. To add interactivity to an Astro component, you can use a script tag. This script can check and set the current theme from local storage and toggle the theme when the icon is clicked. So I guess local storage, it'll save it to the local browser. Add the following script tag in source components theme icon.astro after your style tag. So theme icon.astro. So we'll save that and let's try it. That's working. Let's refresh. Let's do a hard refresh. And it does save it. So, test your knowledge. Choose whether each of the following statements describes Astro script tags, UI framework, or both. They allow you to include interactive UI elements on your website. Both. They will create static elements on your site unless you use a client directive to send their JavaScript to the client and run in the browser. I think it's going to be UI framework components. They allow you to try out a new framework without requiring you to start an entirely new project using that tech stack. Framework components. They allow you to reuse code you have written in other frameworks, and you can framework components. They allow you to add interactivity without needing to know or learn any other JavaScript framework, because that's going to be Astro script tags. So we've done that. Congratulations, there's one more edit to make. So, cons finish, we're going to change that to cons. So in our about page, we're going to change that to true. We hope you learned a little bit about the basics of Astro and had fun along the way. You can find the code for the project on GitHub. Check out our docs for guides and reference material. Welcome to the Universe Astronaut. Excellent. Perfect. So, okay, optional, make a content collection. Now that you have a blog using Astro's built-in file-based routing, you will update it to use a content collection. Content collections are a powerful way to manage groups of similar content, such as blog posts. Get ready to move your folder of blog posts into source/blog. Create a schema to define your blog post front matter, and use get collection to get blog post contact and metadata. So we're going to learn pages versus collections. Even when using content collections, you will still use the source/pages folder for individual pages, such as your About Me page. But moving your blog posts outside of the special folder will allow you to use more powerful and performant APIs to generate your blog post index and display your individual blog posts. At the same time, you will receive better guidance and auto-completion in your code editor because you will have a schema to define a common structure for each post that Astro will help you enforce through Zod, a schema declaration and validation library for TypeScript. In your schema, you can specify when front matter properties are required, such as a description for an author, and which data type each property must use, such as a string or an array. This leads to catching many mistakes sooner without descriptive error messages telling you exactly what the problem is. Read more about Astro's content collections in our guide or get started. So test your knowledge. Which type of page would you probably keep in source/pages? Okay, let's see. Product pages. Blog posts that contain all the basic structure and metadata, because you do not have multiples. In source/pages, maybe a contact page, which is not a benefit of moving blog posts to a content collection. Pages are automatically better error messages. Maybe that one. There we go. Pages automatically created for each file. Content collections use TypeScript to make me feel bad, to understand and validate my collections. Only if the strictest configuration set to, well, that might be the case, but I think that's going to be the answer. The steps below show you how to extend the final product of the Build a Blog tutorial by creating a content collection for the blog posts. So upgrade the dependencies. So we're going to run this npm command here. Yes, we're going to proceed. Okay, create a collection for your posts. So create a collection, which is a folder called source/blog. Move all of your existing markdown files from pages posts into this collection. Okay, create a source/content-config.typescript file to define a schema for your post collection. For the existing blog tutorial code, add the following contents to the file to define all the front matter properties used in its blog posts. So we're importing the global loader, import utilities, define a loader in our schema. In order for Astro to recognize your schema, quit and restart the dev server. So Control-C to restart. This will define Astro content module. Started it on a new port there. Okay. Generate pages from a collection. So we're going to create a page called, right here, pages, posts, and then right here. Oh, we need the .astro extension. Your Markdown and MDX files no longer automatically become pages using Astro's file-based routing when they are inside a collection. So you must first create a page responsible for generating each individual blog post. Add the following code to query your collection to make each blog post slug and page content available to each page it will generate. Render your post content within the layout for the Markdown pages. So we're going to copy that. Markdown post layout. Front matter is going to be the post data. Okay. Remove the layout definition in each individual post front matter. Your content is now wrapped in a layout when rendered, and this property is no longer needed. Okay, so that's done. Replace import meta globe with get collection. Anywhere you have a list of blog posts like the tutorials blog page, so blog.astro, you'll need to replace that with the get collections function. Okay. Okay, let's open up this one here. Get collection from Astro content, and then we need to replace this right here, and then replace this. We'll save that. We'll visit our blog page. Yeah, cannot read properties of undefined title. So in blog.astro, post.frontmatter.title. So, not because this is going to need to be updated, the reference to it. So there we go. You need to update references to the data for each post. You'll now find your front matter values on the data property for each object. Also, when using collections, each post object will have a page slug, not a page URL, not a full URL. So we're going to replace this with this here. We'll save that. We'll see how that works. There we go. Formatting is, that's okay. The tutorial blog project also dynamically generates a page for each tag using source/pages/tags and displays a list of tags at tag/index. Apply the same changes as above to these two files. So tag and index. We need get collection. Update all posts there. And one more in here. and import get collection. So let's head over to our tags page. Oh, we got a type error here. So let's see what we did. So tag.astro, let's copy that. It's right here because it's front matter and we need it to be post.data. Save that. Update the query in the index file. So right here, so import get the collection. And we can copy that. So Astro content, get collection, Astro content, and then all posts await get collection blog. Let's see if we get rid of that. Still const tags. We're going to copy that. And same here. Instead of front matter, we need the data. So now, there we go. That's working. Update any front matter values to match your new schema. To render the date in your blog post layout, convert it to a string using two local date string. Now we need to update the RSS functionality. The tutorial blog project includes an RSS feed. This function must also use get collection to return information from your blog posts. You will then generate RSS items using the data object returned. Okay, so we're changing pages globe to RSS items to the get collection. And let's add this in above the RSS. For a full example of the blog tutorial using content collection, see the content collections branch of the tutorial repo. Okay. No, let's .xml. There we go. Okay, I can use content collections to manage groups of similar content for better performance and organization. Okay, that is done. So obviously that was added some more complexity to this. You know, I think it's something that I'm probably gonna have to go through again, especially when you're building out a new project. You're gonna have to refer back to the docs, but this kind of gave a good overview just of Astro in general, and all the different features, Astro Islands, adding all the new content collections feature as well. So hopefully that helped walking through. Again, it wasn't kind of prepared in advance. It was just I wanted to record myself walking through it, and kind of you can see some of the struggles and trying to figure out how the framework works, and just getting it working on my environment here using Git, deploying it to Netlify. So hope you found that helpful.